Hello everybody and welcome to today's reveal of Dead by Daylight's newest chapter, Demise of the Faithful. Today on the developer stream they revealed the power for the killer and perks for the chapter. I will quickly recap them for you and give you my opinion based on what was shown at the end. I'll be using footage from the developer stream to show what they had for this brief summary. The killer is known as the Plague. If you wish to check out the official trailer for the Plague, I linked it in the description down below. The Plague will have standard stats for a killer, moving at 115% movement speed. Her power is Vile Purge. The killer will vomit a stream of disease, which causes sickness to what it touches. Affected survivors will be afflicted with the status of sickness, which will proceed to get worse over time. The actual effects, though, of sickness was not confirmed, but it is said to weaken survivors, so we'll have to see what that is when the killer is actually released. Objects can also be infected, such as pallets, so that if survivors were to use them, they would then receive the sickness. Survivors may cleanse themselves at pools of devotion that are found around the map. However, by doing so, the fountain becomes corrupt, and the killer may use the fountain to upgrade their Vile Purge to deal damage. The killer's perks are as follows. Dark Devotion causes the terror radius to swap with the obsession when you strike said obsession with a basic attack for a short duration. Infectious Fright will cause survivors within the killer's terror radius to reveal their location with a scream when a survivor is downed. Corrupt Intervention will block the 3 furthest generators from the killer. The generators cannot be repaired until the duration ends. The new survivor is Jane Romero. Her perks are Solidarity, which will heal yourself while healing others at a 50% rate. This number can change, but it's the current amount. Poised removes your scratch marks for 10 seconds after finishing a generator. And finally, Head On. It will activate after standing on a locker for 3 seconds. When rushing out of the locker, it will stun the killer if the killer was within range and will cause exhaustion. This perk cannot be used if you are exhausted. My impressions for this killer are not final. I really have no idea how she'll turn out. But my opinion on it right now is that there's not enough information on her to know if she'll be worth it or not, but she excites me. I think the design on the projectile vomit is fantastic. This is a power I didn't see coming. This is a power that looks fun to use. The developers, however, forgot to tell us what sickness does, so unfortunately I can't say how I feel entirely, because if sickness turns out to be deep wounds, I might get frustrated. But if sickness turns out to be something amazing, then I'll be very happy. But this doesn't stop me from thinking that there is potential. The potential is there. The Plague moves at normal speed, so she can be a normal killer no matter how bad her power is, and that's fine. I like it when a killer does not rely on their power to be a killer. I like when they have base stats, and that they use a power to assist them. At worst, the Plague will be a slightly lesser Huntress, but faster than the Huntress. She can upgrade her projectile vomit, and depending on how that works, it deals damage. She might even be better than the Huntress herself. She has potential, and I'm excited. The perks for the Plague are not half bad. Dark Devotion is going to be the questionable one, as there's no real value to only transferring your terror radius to the obsession only. It's a gimmick use, and it's going to go with a gimmick build for fun. It's not going to be meta. Infectious Fright, however, will be a better perk outright, as finding those survivors who are trailing you to make those flashlight saves will be all the more exposed to slugging when you can spread the damage. Though they will catch on to you having the perk after they realize you make them scream, it'll be interesting to see how it fits into the meta when the PTB is released. Corrupt Intervention is a weird one. It's one that sounds fabulous, but is pretty deceiving. If the duration for it is too short, and it only blocks for a very brief period of time, I would say anything less than a minute is not going to be valuable at all. However, if it blocks over a minute, it could provide some use. We'll see. I have to wait till the numbers come out, and I'll be sure to give it to you when I find out. Jane is a wonderful addition to characters. I'm loving the new models for survivors. They really have more personality than the rest. They look so different and are full of life. Jeff and Jane have to be both my favorite survivors so far. Her perks, though, may not be all that worth it. Solidarity is an interesting perk, as it lets you heal yourself so you can cut out healing time when healing several survivors that are injured, including yourself. Honestly, it's a gimmick perk that might not find its way into the meta. Similar to Autodidact, it has its uses, but it's outclassed by the current healing perks and is very situational. Poised is her best perk, and this one is for the gen jockeys. Allowing stealthy players to sprint out of danger without being seen when finishing generators is fantastic. It'll combo well with sprint burst to keep the gen jockeys as safe as possible and allow them to move to the next generator without being traced. I might try this one out myself, honestly. Now, head-on's gonna be one of my favorite perks that I may never use, only because it's so situational. Since you can't use it in a chase, you won't be able to just hop into a locker and then stun the killer. You have to be in there for 3 seconds. But this is going to really counter those basement builds where you can jump into a locker and wait. And if the killer doesn't check you fast enough, you can actually stun them and get a free out. Though you'll be trapped down there if they want to wait it out. That allows your allies to really work it out. This does open a lot of gameplay, but it's just not going to be an overwhelming power, but it's going to be a strong one. You do have to sacrifice your exhaustion perk for it, so we'll see where this fits in our builds. More will be seen during the PTB, which was not given an official day other than it will be this week. It is common that the PTB releases on a Tuesday or Thursday, so I hope we'll see it on one of those days. There is much to test and many things to see, but this chapter is by far the most interesting I've seen for over a year, and I'm excited to welcome the plague to our ranks. Maybe my sickness was a bit of the teaser the entire time. Thank you all for watching. I'll be sure to show off the PTB the moment I can. I'll keep you all up to date on the killer and survivor status. Until then, I'll catch you next time. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and as always, good game.